Hello, everyone. Welcome in to Post Show Headlines. I'm Andrew Salciunas with John Kincade. I almost want to redo it because I just did a read for my friends at FanDuel for the Masters. And in the read, unscripted, I dropped a hello, friends.
Love it.
I can't wait.
Nance.
I can't wait to hear the hello, friends.
Yeah, I love that. It's going to be great.
It's one of the best.
It's going to be beautiful. It's one of my favorites.
Post show headlines, 5 topics, 2 minutes each. Then we get the hell out of here. Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening, being a part of it, sending in questions that we'll continue to do on a weekly basis.
Go back and watch some of the old ones.
Yeah,
because the subject matter is pretty much evergreen.
Oh yeah,
doesn't tend to be too specific.
And then of course, like, subscribe, everything. We appreciate it. All right, you have a Phillies related question.
Yes.
That I think will then go into a question that I have.
Okay, good.
So I want you to start first then.
We always talk about, you and I, we like who we like. In this fan base, it's very different. People will say to me, what's the difference between where you've worked before, where you work now? And I'll say this fan base chooses who they like and chooses who they don't like, and they're willing to overlook things.
Nick Castellanos, according to a lot of people, is the worst outfielder in the history of baseball.
And Nick Castellanos is
nice grand slam the other day.
And he's been their best player since the beginning of 2024.
Yep.
So what I would ask you is this. Bryson Stott, in your opinion, and this created some debate amongst my friends, does he get a free pass? Is he criticized too much, too little? Where do you feel on Bryson Stott? And then I'll tell you where I land.
I don't think he's criticized enough. The organization told you what they thought of him a few years ago when they platooned him and Edmundo Sosa. That was the World Series run. Now, that was his rookie year, so that's not who he is the rest of his career. I think he's not reached his upside yet, and I think a lot of people are waiting for that to happen. The at-bats are good for the most part. The glove is exceptional. Like, he is an exceptional second baseman. He might just not be. A lot of people still think he could be like a leadoff hitter or a two-hole hitter one day. He has not done enough for me to believe that.
Are they basing that on 22 when he was he saw more pitches per at bat than any player in the National League?
I believe Ruben Amaro Jr. believes that he could be the leadoff hitter of this team. I think he's toward the bottom of the order player, and if he's hitting 270,
that's beautiful. Yes.
Great.
I just wonder too, would a platoon not be best for him right now? And best for the Phillies.
Now you're platooning 8 different positions. You're platooning center. Sometimes platooning left with Kepler.
Remember, they said they weren't going to platoon center, and they obviously are.
No, they are, yeah. So what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are I think I'd be fine with him platooning.
Okay.
I'd be fine with that and getting the most out of that for me. But I do think that Bryson Stott is one of those players that everybody just chooses to like.
But here's the deal. He's
a professional, though.
If he was a 15th round pick, he's a high draft pick. Maybe they want to see, go out there and swim.
Could be. Totally
now, speaking of, Rob Thompson lets some guys go out there and swim.
Yep.
Sometimes to the detriment.
Yep.
Sometimes it's worked out. Out for Castellanos last year. He played all 162 games, and he struggled at certain points. How would you, John Kincade, handle a struggling player? Because we see it offensively, we see it defensively, we see it with Romano right now.
Right.
And he was brought in to be one of your high leverage guys. So I don't think Rob Thompson wants to pull the plug on that 10 games into the season.
It was funny, as I said, working in hockey for a coach that was in the NHL, for a coach that was a cruel, grind guys down to get the best out of them.
Yeah.
When I coached, and it wasn't nearly those levels, I'd put my arms around a player when they were struggling, and I'd kick their ass even when when they were doing well.
Yeah.
But I thought I could get more out of them.
Right.
I always switched that up. I never felt piling on a guy who was down was the best thing to do. But Rob Thompson, and I don't believe it's all him. Like Rob Thompson continually, they give all this grace to Brandon Marsh. And the Rojas upside is so much more. We know what Brandon Marsh is.
Well, no. The upside is not more.
It is, because we don't know what it is yet, and I already know the ceiling of Brandon Marsh, and it's inadequate.
Johan
Rojas.
Inadequate.
It is inadequate for a team that wants to win a championship that he's your center fielder to play 140 games.
Gotcha.
So to me,
I agree with you there.
But I want to see Rojas, who, by the way, is actually listening to what he's being taught and has shown. his bunting this year has already been good.
Yeah, but
He's been solid.
But I don't want to rely on.
No.
The only way he gets on base is bunting.
How about he gets or infield grounders? He's gotten 2 of them this year.
Yes, he
where
does.
he hits
and
the
he's
ball,
batting ninth.
And he is purposely, as they told you in the broadcast, he's trying to beat the ball into
As
the
he
ground
should.
to beat it out. He's listening to what he was taught. Is Brandon Marsh? I don't think Brandon Marsh is listening. I think he's one of those players where the team has talked about they have to listen to what we're telling them. They have to buy in. I think he's one of the guys not buying in.
Alec Bohm is the most not buying in.
Well, we know that.
You gave me numbers earlier today about the pitches seen. They're one of the best teams at doing it, and yet he's still swinging first pitch.
It's amazing.
And ending games with double plays because of it.
Jeff Kerr, had it today from CBS. The Phillies are leading Major League Baseball with the lowest chase rate.
Yeah.
Last year, they were one of the 6th worst.
Yeah.
So that's great improvement. Some players learn
first pitch swinging.
Yeah, doesn't know it.
Still bothers me.
It does.
You have an Eagles-related question about the players leaving. Is that true?
Okay, yeah. It's something that I'm not uncomfortable to talk about, but I heard that some of the players that are gone from the Eagles defense were never coming back. That's what I was told the other day from a very good source at a Phillies game, talking to a media member who knows, that some of the players on defense that left were never coming back.
All right.
And that the coaching staff and the organization had just made a decision. They're not coming back.
All right, well, Chauncey
C.J. Gardner-Johnson has to be. He has to be that guy.
He's the poster child of
and
that.
I immediately blurted that. I said, well, that makes sense. And he goes, he's not the only one. Who's the other one? Because they wouldn't tell me.
I imagine maybe Darius Slay got on them after a while, even though the young players loved them. Financially, they were never bringing back Milton Williams and Josh Slay.
I wondered if it was Brandon Graham.
Oh, well.
2 different flare-ups this year where the locker room and the organization is having to put out fires because of him. If they just said, let's call it a career. Because they love him and they know him.
And Jeffrey Lurie said
was the
he's
one
got a job in the organization forever.
And Jeffrey Lurie was also the one calling to say, get him off the microphone when he was spilling guts about what was going on in the stadium. My mind, it went to that. And I said to myself, did they do it? I'm glad Brandon Graham retired now because he's going out on top. He's going to be a part of this community.
Hell yeah, man.
And very much loved. But I didn't think, immediately my mind went, could it have been Brandon Graham? Because Darius Slay, the players in the room,
they love him.
They loved him.
I think the players love Brandon Graham too. You saw
Jalen
Hurts.
I don't think they love that.
No.
That did not go over well this year.
No, it definitely didn't. All right. Earlier today, we had some fun with this on the air. The players that were here for a cup of coffee. Julio Jones retired. That guy's going to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and he played a season with the Eagles. I mentioned Dwight Howard.
Sure.
Played a season with the Sixers. He'll be going to the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. It was announced this weekend. Who is a player who had a cup of coffee here that you wish had their entire career here, that you think teams would have won because of that person?
Another Hall of Famer.
Who?
You're too young. Ryan Sandberg. The Phillies let
You think they would have won World Series?
Yes. They went to a World Series after he was traded and lost it. Ryan Sandberg absolutely could have penciled him in for 14, 15 years at second base.
Yeah.
That kind of power, that kind of bat, that kind of defense.
It's a good answer.
Ryan Sandberg is the one to me. He's always, when we talk about the one that got away, he's a guy always I sort of think of.
Like Connor said on the air, Pedro Martinez.
Which is a great one.
Great answer, but that's once a week, right?
Yeah.
So
it's not
I'm trying to think of other cup of coffee guys.
The Phillies traded away a Hall of Fame second baseman and traded him away to the Cubs and got DeJesus.
Ivan DeJesus,
all them. Which, by the way, and then that team, they ended up going to a World Series.
They did.
But Ryan Sandberg on that team, they maybe win a World Series.
Like, I think of another guy, how much fun it would have been. I don't know how much success they would have had if Jim Tomei was the first baseman his entire career with the Phillies.
That was late. Yeah, that's sort of a backward.
You would have watched 600 home runs. That would have been pretty fun. All right, last thing.
I never think, by the way, and this is one of those weird things, I never think of him in any way with fondness. And
Like as a Philly, or
yeah.
well, because you
I just don't
know
like
what happened to Ryan Howard. Because
Right.
of it.
I just think that they again missed opportunity.
I love
but I
him.
never think of it that's should be no reflection on Jim Tomei,
Yeah.
who is a great player and
Hall of Famer.
a great person in your community.
Yeah, my dad did the 17 game plan when they signed him.
See that
When they signed him, my dad was
over.
He called the Phillies ticking office. Like,
Love that.
All right, sign us up. That was 03 last year.
Love it.
Lastly, worst annoying injuries, and I asked that because I've had a hangnail.
Oh, jeez.
For like 3 days, and I can't get it out.
An annoying injury?
Yeah.
Paper cut.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know what it is, but I can tell you right now. Well, right now the chemo that I did.
Yes.
It takes 4 years for your skin to recover. Because it thins out your skin.
Yeah.
The protocol I did. So they tell you, be very careful about getting cuts.
So paper cuts cut deep.
Because cuts of any kind, like be really careful because you're going to have a hard time getting it to bleed and you're going to get these like little scars. Like I cut one there. Got like a little scar. Your skin is thin for 4 years, so you got to be careful. Paper cuts right now are awful.
Oh, yeah.
Dreadful. Right. But I was a wussy boy with them before sometimes too, depending on where they were. That's a bad one. Right
stub
now,
toes,
a stub toe, and I can stub a toe. I can stub
like
a
it's
toe.
Your job?
Like it's my first time to ever walk. I'm terrible. And right now, while I'm in this workout regimen that I'm in, as you see me every morning, the little aches and pains. I honestly am a wussy boy when it comes to dealing with this little stuff. I could deal with chemo. Can't deal with like little aches and pains.
Exercise soreness.
I'm like, come on, it's terrible.
Fun fact: broke my left toe, big toe, on the same day, back-to-back years.
I heard it's so painful.
Yeah, well,
I heard it's but I heard it's incredibly.
I can't bend it.
Really?
My one toe's. That's why I'm not a professional athlete.
That's sort of freaky.
I stubbed it on the final step of my childhood home.
Same year?
Running down it was New Year's Eve both years. Okay. Broke it.
That's crazy.
And you don't do anything to it. You don't.
No, you just gotta
deal with it.
Didn't they put it in a little splint?
Nope, I just dealt with it.
Okay, well then that's crazy.
It was pretty bad though. Back-to-back years, New Year's Eve.
My adopted parents. Were you imbibing?
No, I was a child.
Oh, I thought it was like you in high school.
I've had a
sneaking stuff.
I've had a non-bendable toe for like 25 years.
God,
all right, everybody have a great rest of your day. We'll be back at it tomorrow on the air at 6 o'clock. Post show headlines afterwards. Thanks, guys. Hey guys, Andrew Salciunas from Kincade and Salciunas. Thank you for checking out all of our stuff on YouTube. Make sure you click, like, subscribe on everything that you see. And of course, you can see everything from our YouTube feed. Full shows, interviews, when John's being an idiot, which is like 15 times a day. So make sure you check out all of our stuff on YouTube. We appreciate it.